And we are live on today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose. I am joined by my sister, Leona Dooley of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the kitchen. And we are talking not everything, but almost everything Thanksgiving. Particularly, we're looking at Thanksgiving on a budget, how you can make Thanksgiving affordable. So, in this live stream, we will be giving you some tips on how to make Thanksgiving affordable for your family. And many of these tips that we're going to give should work for you. Plus, Leona has a printable that she will be sharing that can help you kind of get things started. So, Leona, say hello to the viewers so we can get this party started.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's so good to see you. I see quite a few very familiar faces, and I'm looking forward to chatting with today, as well as we've got some fun things that are around the corner that Denise and I already have planned. And we started to think about Thanksgiving, and we couldn't leave you all out.
Of
So,
course not.
of course not. We had talked hours talking about Thanksgiving, so we had to bring you all in. So it's going to be fun.
And you guys know Leona likes to focus on the home cook, particularly the young home cook. And then I like to focus on the homemaker, the seasoned homemaker, as well as the young homemaker. And before I forget, because I know I'm going to forget as we get to going through stuff, I want to be sure to say that I want each of you, particularly our young homemakers, to consider having a small Thanksgiving or a holiday celebration of your own with just your
Mhm.
immediate family. And we'll talk more about that later, but I wanted to get it in before I forgot. Because, Leona, you know, when you and I get to talking,
I
we get to talk.
know. I know. We will just keep going and forget about everything. Oh, this is going to be fun.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in with the first tip, and then I'll come back in after we've done the first tip or two, and then we'll say hello to the people that are with us today. So, tip number one is to plan ahead. And you know,
Mhm.
when you think about the holiday season, particularly Thanksgiving, I think even more so than Christmas, it can be so stressful. And it can be stressful because of um, the food, the dinner, the meal. There's just seems to be so much stress on putting that holiday dinner on the table, particularly for our young homemakers or our young home cooks, the first time they go at it. What do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's everyone. I think back to myself as a young homemaker, and that first I think I shared this story with you that the hubby and I got married November 12th, and guess who hosted that first Thanksgiving?
Were you crazy?
Yes, yes, I was absolutely nuts. And I tell you what, I didn't know where to start, but thank goodness I had a mom who did know what to do, and she helped me through it. But
Mhm.
you know what? The thing of it is that there's so much to do, and I think back in the day. Groceries were not quite as expensive, and typically the way we did it was if you hosted, you did the cooking. And so that first Thanksgiving, mom and I did all of the cooking. Not
I'm sure
one.
your big guy was thrilled when you were able to pull it off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So was his family. I think they were in shock. But but it's certainly something that is I think necessary, in that as you're coming through the fall, the kids are getting back into their school routine, and everybody's ripping and running from all the sports going on, and it is the first time where you can really bring the entire family and community together. And
Mhm.
so Thanksgiving really is very, very important.
Yes, it is. And I tell you, as I said, my first tip to our viewers is going to be to plan ahead. Just plan ahead when it
Mhm.
comes to prepping for the holiday so that you can reduce overwhelm as much as possible. And I don't just mean a few days ahead, I mean
Right.
plan 3 to 5 weeks ahead so that you can take your time, so that you know what you're doing, so you can practice a dish or two if you need to.
Yes.
But most of all, so that you can have the things that you need and not feel stressed at the last minute. So you got to give yourself plenty of time. So, what are your
Absolutely.
thoughts on that?
You're absolutely right. And plus, too, for me, I'm always checking my tools. Do I have all the pans that I need? And there are certain things that when you're having, I call this a mega event,
Hmm.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so when you're having a mega event, there are certain pans, certain rotisseries, all those kind of things that I only use Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so, because of that, about a month in advance, I try to go through everything to make sure that they're working, make sure nothing has rusted, make sure that if it's something that I need to replace, that I'll have opportunity to do that. And I try to make sure I have all my dishwashing liquid, all those kind of things, so that at the last minute, I am ready to go. And so typically, like today, I picked up this. We went to Costco. I picked up a gigantic container of dishwashing pods and the jet dry to make sure I already had that. I looked at a rotisserie um, thing that you cook turkeys in that I've been eyeing, and so I'm still eyeing it. I had to look at the price tag and I had to think twice. I thought turkey rotisserie, but as you look at those items, some of the things that you have are fun items that are
Hmm.
certainly convenience items. But I have to say to my young cooks and those who aren't so young, we don't necessarily need all of the fun things. We just need the strategic things. You need a good pan to be able to put that bird in, and you need to get the bird in time enough to see whether or not he's going to fit in that pan.
Oh, now I hadn't thought about that, but
Mhm.
getting it in time enough. But you're right. So typically, I have a roasting pan. It's a very old one of those kind of speckled blue enamel
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
It was my husband's mother's, and when they moved out of that house, it was in the basement, and so I brought it on home. So I'm just glad that I've got something that Mrs. Jordan used a long time ago in
Mhm,
preparation for their dinner. So I
mhm,
have that to use for my family. I've got a smaller one
mhm,
since then as well. But yes, but here's something that I was going to share when we did our wrap up. But since you mentioned all the tools right now, one of the ways that we can save a little money is maybe borrow some of the tools if need be.
mhm,
Because, like you said, that big old roasting pan, we use it once or twice a year. So maybe,
mhm,
excuse me, maybe mom or a sister or a girlfriend
mhm.
has one of those. So that's an expense you wouldn't have to purchase if you could borrow it. So that's something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry to bump in there, but I just
Oh,
want
that's okay. That's okay. Well,
to.
I tell you, last Thanksgiving, I even borrowed dining room chairs
Hmm.
because we had such a large group and my neighbor was going out of town. So I asked her, I said, well, I've got a large group and I need chairs. So can I borrow your dining room chairs? She said, oh yeah, come on over. So I went over, the big guy and I went over, we got all of her chairs out of her house and brought them over to our house. And of course, then returned them, once it was over. But, those are the things you have to look at in advance. You can't wait until the week of Thanksgiving and then try to make those plans because other people are making plans as well. And we had talked about today even that as we're I call it pre-planning,
Hmm.
as we're pre-planning now, end of October into November, now's the time to start to look at of course, our menu, whatever it is that we want to prepare,
Right.
but we also want to kind of look at the people who are going to be coming and
Okay.
start to put it out there. What this is the plan. This is what I'd like to have. And if you have suggestions or something that you're willing to share and to bring, then that is a help to your budget.
Okay.
And it's
So the thing
mhm,
I was going to go to next was let's start with where we think they should start in regards to the budget and the menu. And you just covered that pretty nicely. Start out with how many people they think they're going to have.
mhm,
And then next to, well, I like to think about the menu first before the number of people. But
mhm,
the menu that I want to have, I'll plan
mhm,
that. And I know I have to to laugh, but when I took over hosting Thanksgiving, because my mom had gotten to a point where she just couldn't do it anymore.
mhm.
And she would every year she would call and she would say, well, what are we going to have? And I remember I finally said, Mom, we had the same thing for Thanksgiving since I was born. You know what we're going to have. Well, then, well, what do you want me to bring? That kind of thing. And for us, Thanksgiving dinner is very traditional. So when
Mhm,
we look at meal planning, it tends to be the same thing for Thanksgiving and at Christmas time. We have the
mhm.
same meal both days.
We
And I
do too.
remember once when Blue Skies was living in Delaware and
Mhm,
she came home for the holiday, I had tried 3 or 4 different kinds of dressings. I had made like a sausage dressing and, this and,
mhm.
cranberry stuffing and all this. And she was like, "What? What?" She says, "No." She says, "You don't mess with tradition. You make the regular stuff." She said, "I didn't come home for that." So she was like, just incensed. It's like, "No, you don't be mixing it up and trying something new on the holiday." So yeah, so I like to start with the menu and then I go to the
Mhm.
budget. So I'm going to ask our people who are watching, where do they like to start first, with the menu or the budget? And while they're typing that in, we'll see who's here and say hello. Okay, so we've got Deb. Hey Deb, how are you?
Hey
It's
there.
good to have you.
Good to see you.
And then Leona saying hello to everybody. And then hey Sally from
Oh,
Indiana.
Sally.
She lives right here in my town.
Oh, how about that?
Yes, yes.
That's
As a matter
wonderful.
of fact, she was a former student. I said, I hope I was nice.
What?
Yeah, she was one of my students. I'm not sure which nursing school I was teaching at the time, but she was, because I've taught at 4 different schools, but she was one of
Mhm.
my students as one of them.
Aw.
And here's Linda, wise woman Lola. Hey, Linda, it is so good
Hello,
to have you.
hello.
So there's Sally again saying hello to
Mhm.
everybody. Oh, this is one of your ladies.
Here's Nitty T.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nitty T.
Hello, hello.
And then
Jenny,
Julie.
hello. Hello. How are you?
Hey,
And
Vicky from
Vicky.
South Carolina.
Mhm.
So we've got quite a few people
Okay,
jumping in.
I found
Yeah.
on the web for Hey Vicky from South Carolina. Check it out.
All of a sudden, Siri is talking to me, and we were not talking to Siri. So sorry about that. So Deb says, fun show. Vicky from You Know Where says, thanks in advance for helping. She starts planning a few months in advance for Thanksgiving.
Smart girl.
Yeah.
Smart girl.
Okay. Okay. And then Sue H is on.
Hello, Sue.
And so Sally says Thanksgiving is all about the food and the gathering around the table, whereas
Mhm.
Christmas has other aspects that takes the attention. And that is so true.
That's true.
That's why I like Thanksgiving the best, because it's just a
Mhm.
time to just gather around the table and be thankful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now Lola wants to know, or rather Linda, her name is actually Linda. Does anyone cook turkey parts in their Instant Pot? Have you done that, Leona?
I've never done that. I
Hmm.
haven't tried that.
I have not either, but she's made me think, do I need to try to cook some kind of turkey for this Thanksgiving in an Instant Pot and just kind of
Mhm.
see what's what? So I'm going to put that on my list and we'll see.
Yeah. I have to check that out.
Not try that, Linda, not try that.
I've done the parts and put them in the oven and cook them that way. Cut them like you would a chicken, cut
Hmm.
the turkey up, and so that works out. Hey, Tamara, Duncan party of 6.
So Deb says she's never tried turkey in the Instant Pot, but it's a good idea. Now
Mhm,
I can't remember who told us this last year, but
mhm,
she says she makes her turkey the day before, and then
mhm,
she slices it up and puts it in a slow cooker in broth and lets it kind of
mhm,
sit and simmer in that, so the
mhm,
turkey's not dry on the day that they serve it. So I remember
mhm.
that, but I don't know anything about the Instant Pot yet.
I know. I've done the slow cooker at Christmas,
Mhm.
but not for Thanksgiving.
So Vicky says that her mom had the same little speckled blue black looking roasting pan
Mhm.
with the lid that I have as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that thing's been
I
around
think
for a while.
everybody had one of those. Mom had one of those too.
So Deb said
Um,
she got one as a wedding gift with a baster, meat
oh,
thermometer, and big forks. She still got it
oh,
49 years later. Boom, I like
all
it.
right. That's a good purchase.
So Vicky says she always plans for at least 12 people.
Mhm,
They tend to cook enough for 12 to 20. And we'll talk
mhm,
about that in a little bit as
mhm.
well, because I did look up how many pounds you should have per person and all of that. So if I forget to come back to that,
Mhm.
remind me to do that. But Debbie wants to talk about menu is where she starts.
Yeah.
And then Nita B is just saying, hey.
Hey,
And Yolanda starts with menu.
talked about the menu.
And then Vicky likes to start with budget, and that helps pave the way for the menu. That's
That's
probably the best way to
mhm.
do it. However, I start with menu just because it's been that way for so long. And then I
Yeah.
try to make the menu fit the budget. But I will admit, I've not very often paid attention to the Thanksgiving budget. I really have not. I typically will just, because if I'm the host and my kids have flown in from Tennessee and flown in from Georgia, and then the
Mhm.
one that lives here, his wife will bring all the desserts. I don't want to ask them to have to bring something else. So I
Right.
tend to make everything. So
Absolutely.
my sisters were here. My one sister would bring potato salad because she's the potato salad maker, but now she's moved to Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then Blue Skies would always make the sweet potatoes.
Mhm.
So we would kind of do it that way. So that was
Mhm.
somewhat of a help, but it's got to be a little bit different this way.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, here's another Hoosier. Lynn
Uh-huh.
lives in Indianapolis, just 2 hours away.
All right.
And then Linda says she has the same 14 people every year, same menu, and then same people bring the same foods every year.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's easy.
And that's the way it was at ours too. Like
Mhm.
Lavina would bring potato salad and she would bring a peach cobbler. Mickey would bring the sweet potatoes. Like mom would buy them. And when she got too old to do any of that stuff, Max would take
Mhm.
over whatever mom used to make. My brother Greg, he would bring some kind of side dish. We would just give him a side dish because he would always show up an hour or an hour and a half late. We'd be done with dinner by the time he showed up with whatever he was bringing. There's always one in every family.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, certain people are known for certain things, and and then Deb says she starts with the number of people and budget, then the menu and who's bringing what.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so Leona, what kind of things do you think they should be planning, or better yet, what should they do first? Now they've kind of told what they do, and I told you what I do, but I think they should plan the menu well. Whether it's budget first or menu first, they still got to plan the menu. So,
Right.
how do you go about planning your menu? Can you help the young
Mhm.
homemakers with that?
Well, typically what I will do is to sit down, the turkey is always going to be the star. And with turkey, then you have, of course, the stuffing or dressing, whichever way you prepare it. And I, at which I was usually the host of the house. So I always did the turkey and the stuffing. And so then I'd have someone to volunteer for the macaroni and cheese, whomever did the best macaroni and cheese, whomever fixed the best green beans, the best greens. And, you start to look at your side dishes that everyone's going to ask for,
Mhm.
because typically within a family, there are traditional things that when everybody sits down to that Thanksgiving table that they're looking for.
Right.
And so, I, of course, once I learned how to really make good rolls, then I became the person who did the rolls. And so, as you're looking at that too, you also, as you develop that menu and decide on who's going to prepare what, then you start to look at your part and start to say, okay, what can I do in advance
Mm-hmm.
that will help me and have things in the freezer ready to go, so that you just have to bring it out and cook it. So then you start to get into timing. And I'll say fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, I'm kind of like you in that I always had a certain amount of money. I knew Thanksgiving was coming. I would just kind of set aside a certain amount of money for Thanksgiving, and I worked within whatever that amount was. And so that included not just the food. I usually gave the beverages to someone who was single, a single guy. He would be in charge of beverages and ice, something easy, and or dessert or something that they could pick up. But as you're thinking about the plan, you're also thinking about what are you going to do with the table. You're looking at your forks, knives, and spoons. I know we usually have a group of at least 30.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're looking at 30 people, I don't have 30 forks. I might have 12, but I don't have 30. So then I have to start to think about, do I really want to wash all those dishes? And so what I started doing was, the adults had dishes and silverware, and the kiddos had the paper plates and those kind of things. So I made their plates very fun, things that I knew they would enjoy. And then I really dressed up the adults area. And so that made it nice. And everyone looked forward to being able to come in. The kids knew they were going to get to go to their area. They could be as loud and as wiggly as they wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the adults could have a nice casual conversation. So budgeting is something that I can't remember who it was. Vicky from South Carolina was saying that she starts several months in advance. And that's basically what I did. I started money wise
Yeah.
several months in advance, because I knew this is a big ticket item with Christmas right behind it as
Well,
another
and
big
that's
ticket.
the thing, like you said, Christmas is right behind it. And, this year, since everything is more expensive,
Mhm.
I am going to have to look at the budget. My husband has already started talking budget. So I already know that I'm going to have to be within a budget this year. And we're going to be away for Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
But my son that lives here, and there's a few family members that we're not going to see. So I thought, well, I'll do Sunday dinner the week before we leave, and we'll have it like Thanksgiving dinner. And he
Mhm.
was like, "Budget? Are you kidding? Like, because you got a couple plane tickets on
Mhm.
top of all of that, and looking at cost. So let me just talk a little bit about cost real quick. One of the things that I did was just kind of look to see what is the usual cost for a Thanksgiving dinner. And
Mhm.
you already mentioned that the highest ticket item tends to be the turkey,
Mhm.
which finds its way to most Thanksgiving tables. But then
Mhm.
there are some who will have other dishes. Maybe they'll roast a chicken. And one way you
Mhm.
can save money, maybe, is to roast a chicken instead of a turkey.
Mhm.
But if you
Mhm.
catch those turkeys at just the right price at just the right time, you
Mhm.
can get a turkey on sale. But
Absolutely.
let me just find those notes here. In 2022, the average cost of a classic Thanksgiving dinner for 10 people
Mm-hmm.
was $64.05. Just an average dinner for 10 people, with just a little bit less than $6.50 per person. And this was according to American Farm Bureau. They did a survey every year.
Mm-hmm.
And they anticipate there to be about a little bit of an increase this year, pushing that total up to about $66.39, which is going to make that about not quite $7 per person. So it doesn't sound like it's a lot higher, but that all depends upon what area you live in, what's
Absolutely.
in season, what kind of
Mm-hmm.
things you're buying,
Mm-hmm.
but also that turkey prices also were somewhat higher, and that Americans are expected to spend 1.1 billion on Thanksgiving turkeys alone. Can you believe that?
It's amazing. It's
That's a lot of
amazing.
turkey.
I usually get at least a 25 pounder. And I try, if the price is good, to buy two. So I can get one for Christmas, one for Thanksgiving and then one for Christmas. Because if you don't get your turkey during Thanksgiving season, by the time you get to Christmas, he's almost doubled in price.
And typically, Kroger's and most of the big box stores will get turkeys in about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they're in right now
Right
at
now.
Kroger and at Aldi. So I
Yes.
picked up a turkey yesterday at
Mm-hmm.
Kroger at
Mm-hmm.
99 cents a pound. So let me ask our viewers, have you seen turkeys in your area? And if so, what is the price? We would like to know so we can kind of see what
Yeah.
those prices are and maybe help out one of our other homemakers. They can check those out. So you guys go ahead and put that in the chat so we can see um, what those turkeys are. So Stephanie says, yes, turkeys are higher this year.
Mm-hmm. She
Um,
she also said that her family uses paper plates and plastic forks and etc. That's a smart way to go. It really cuts back on the work.
mhm.
One thing too, Denise, is, now's the time to, as you're thinking about those who are coming, you might want to mention to them to go over to Dollar Tree and get some of those little takeout containers, of plastic ones. I think you get three in a container for $1, and or $1.25 now that they've gone up. But those are nice to bring. And I know what we usually do is that we try to divide up whatever is left, and each family gets to take almost a little mini Thanksgiving dinner home, so that they'll have a little something to snack on once they're back at home.
That makes perfect sense. And I tell you what, I've gotten rid of all of my plastic containers, those leftover butter dishes and Gladware
Mhm.
and all that. I just don't have any of that anymore.
Yeah.
So whenever we have Sunday dinner and somebody says, well, do you have any paper plates? No. Do you
Mhm.
have any plasticware? No. Because I typically would just use like regular plates. But
Mhm.
I think that's a great idea to have them bring those things with them so
Mhm.
that they can take those leftovers home.
Yes.
So now I wanted to draw attention to Vicky's post here. And she said her and her family keep the Thanksgiving budget between 250 and 375. And due to inflation, it may max out at $400 this year.
Mhm.
And so Lola was saying that she thought that was a lot of money. Well, yeah, it is a lot of money. But on the other hand, when you think of all the things that people get, let me show you something else that I
Mhm.
found because I really had a lot of fun after you and I talked earlier thinking about
Uh-huh.
this. So I'm going to share the screen. I think this is where I
Mhm.
go. Share the screen and right here. So one of the articles that I read that talked about the
Mhm.
increase in price of Thanksgiving dinner. And so the CEO at Walmart, let me find that. Can you guys see this or is it blank?
Oh yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so the CEO from Walmart was on the ABC News, and Walmart's plan is to make Thanksgiving dinner more affordable. And
Mm-hmm.
last year, they wanted to serve Thanksgiving at a 2021 price. And so this year, they're really trying to get it down, and they say that they are. And I saw in here that they talk about a Walmart Thanksgiving food basket.
Hmm.
They figured that turkeys ought to be less expensive since we don't have the problem with the avian flu quite as
Mhm.
much. They haven't had to kill as many birds.
That's true.
So I found this on All Recipes, and it's so Walmart has these Thanksgiving dinner kits. You
Hmm.
can buy them for as low as $30 for 6 people,
Oh,
all
that's
the way up to
nice.
like 75 or $80 for up to 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got your traditional Thanksgiving items in it. You've got a 16-pound frozen turkey, instant potatoes, French fried onions, so you can make your green bean casserole,
Mm-hmm.
chicken stuffing mix, and canned green beans, and then cranberry sauce, turkey gravy, and dinner rolls. Now, these are all in the kit, already ready to go. You can buy this kit and be ready to go for $30.
Oh,
You
neat.
can go higher to as high as $77, and it'll be for maybe 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And you, in addition to the other things that I mentioned, you'll get food with Bob Evans mashed potatoes, stovetop stuffing, Marie Callender's frozen pumpkin pie, um, and you can also get other options. So I just
Mm-hmm.
really thought it was interesting that Walmart was going to be having these food baskets that you can
Mm-hmm.
buy. So I think that would be a savings if you
Mm-hmm.
chose to go that route. Now we're looking at box of instant potatoes and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know those kinds of
Mm-hmm.
things. But if that's how you do, it could be a savings.
Well, and for say someone who knows a family that may be struggling, with the budget, that may be a great gift to be able
Mhm.
to give them a $30
Oh,
coupon from Walmart to be able to pick up their dinner. Or you may just go and get it and take it to them and say, here it is. But that's a great opportunity for
mhm.
of course, for Walmart to do, and an opportunity for us to be able to share a meal with someone else or another family.
Mhm.
And that's great. That's great. Kroger used to do a similar thing where you could order your dinner from Kroger. And I think one year I was sick, and that's what we did. We ordered the Thanksgiving dinner from Kroger, and wasn't my dinner, but
Of
it
course.
worked. Everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. They had their turkey.
Well,
But
one of the things I wanted to mention too while we're talking about this and figuring out how to save money is one way to save money is to inventory what you have. Take a
absolutely.
look at your freezer, your fridge, your pantry, and your extended pantry
Mhm,
and see what do you have that you can use for your holiday dinner,
mhm,
and then to the right, make a list of what it is that you need to buy. Now,
mhm.
you have a way of working that out. Is that what you use your B6ology for?
I do. I do. In fact, I have my little book that I keep with me all the time, and I am able to just go through right now at the end of October. I got my pages ready to go. It is set up and ready to go with my little turkey here, so I can start to jot down what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. And I think this year, what I'm going to do, which I hadn't done in the past, this goes to the grocery with me.
Mhm.
And so I can keep my grocery list in here. Um, as I think I always do this. I always list everything I'm going to need and then shop the house to see what I have in the house. And, we have been so, I'll say, focused on making sure that our pantries were well supplied.
Mhm.
So, because of that, There, I already know there are going to be some things that are on this list. I don't need to buy green beans. I've got enough green beans to last a while, so I know the green beans are ready. I have everything for green bean casserole, with exception of the little onion rings.
Mhm.
So the onion rings are going to be the only thing I need to pick up for that. But you know, butter. Oh, butter is one of those things that I can't believe how much butter you go through for Thanksgiving.
$6.
And so, I know about how much I used last year. I have a stash that is in the freezer already, where I've been accumulating it over the summer. And so, I can go and look at that. Eggs are another thing. Now, Aldi's had always has a great price on eggs,
Mhm.
and their eggs were like $1.09 for 12. Now, some people might not think that
Mm.
was great, but
No,
that's not
that's
bad.
good.
That's not bad in today's world.
Mm-mm.
And so, one lady was over at the counter. I kid you not, she had 12 containers of eggs. So she's got a plan and
Yeah,
that she's trying to work. And so so as you find those kinds of things, now's the time. If you know you're out of green beans in your pantry, you can look at your pantry and tell, am I going to have enough green beans to be able to put all of this together? No. So I need to make sure that I catch the sale as the green beans come through. Now, if you are a I like to have cans and bottles and those kind of things delivered, so I don't have to haul them out of the store. But Walmart, Kroger, all of those places, you can go online, look at what the sales are, see what they're offering at that time. Or if you decide you want to use freezer options rather than cans, you can certainly do that. But now is the time to get your vegetables in order so that you have those things already in your house. And I usually try to purchase enough so that when Christmas rolls around, I don't have to repurchase it again.
exactly. Because,
You know,
like you
what?
said, right now those things are on sale at
Mhm,
Thanksgiving time. A few weeks before Thanksgiving is when they start marking those things down and putting things
mhm,
on sale. And here's the thing. Right close to Thanksgiving, it's harvest time. So things
mhm,
are coming in, fresh
mhm,
produce is coming in, which is the original Thanksgiving, the first
mhm.
Thanksgiving was like at the end of harvest time.
Yes.
So people were celebrating the harvest and the goodness that they were able to kind
Mhm,
of bring together. So if we look at what's in season right now, apples, pears, plums, sweet potatoes,
mhm,
squash, pumpkins, and various greens like kale and collard
mhm,
and all those kind of things, they're in season right now.
mhm.
Green beans, fresh, in season right now.
Absolutely.
So that means, in addition to your fresh veggies, then you're going to
Mhm,
be having those canned ones that are on sale. This is the best time all year. You're going to capture some of those things on sale. So, as you said, now is the time to
Don't
buy them.
oh, sorry. Don't forget the collards.
Yes,
Now is the time to get those collards, because I know I bought some and I was going to go back and get some more. There wasn't a collard to be found, and they were beautiful. But now's the time to go ahead, get them all cut, cleaned, and in the freezer. And you may even want to cook them before you put them in the freezer. So all
mhm,
you have to do is just bring them out, warm them up, and they're ready to go.
you're ready to go.
Hmm.
So, what kind of foods? I was thinking about what's in season this year. So, why do we see some of the dishes that we see at holiday time? Green bean casserole, cause fresh
Hmm.
green beans are in season.
Hmm.
Pumpkin pie, sweet potato
Pumpkins.
pie, pumpkins
Hmm.
and sweet potatoes are in season. And of course,
Hmm.
apple pie, because apples are in season.
Hmm.
So that's, and squashes, like maple
Hmm.
butternut squash and those kinds of things. We see all those kinds of things. So now let me just ask our audience, what do you have on your Thanksgiving dinner table? Let us know what you have, and we'll tell you what we have on ours while you're typing what you guys have in.
I think it's Stephanie. I think she's already given us a rundown.
Let me find.
Yes.
Oh,
You see her? Okay.
there she is.
Oh, wow.
Stephanie has turkey, ham, roast. Oh, a roast beef, and then
That's
smoked roast,
smoked. Mm,
greens, yams, corn on the cob, green beans with potatoes, upside down 7-Up cake,
we have those.
homemade pound cake, key lime pie, and sweet potato pie with iced tea. Stephanie, where are you from? I'm not sure. I'm thinking somewhere in the South, are you?
Is
Tell me
she
where
Texas?
she might be. I'm not sure. But we always have turkey and
Mm-hmm.
ham. So we have turkey and dressing, and
Mm-hmm.
then we have ham,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll have cranberry sauce that
Absolutely.
goes with ham and turkey, and then
Mm-hmm.
mac and cheese,
Mm-hmm.
mashed potatoes. My
Mm-hmm.
grandmother would always make a huge green salad. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it just because didn't want to have to go through the extra mess, but grandma always had a huge green salad.
Uh-huh.
And then we'd have green beans, not green bean
Mm-hmm.
casserole, but just
Mm-hmm.
plain old green beans, collard greens,
Mm-hmm.
mashed potatoes with gravy. And then our family always made a fruit salad. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
family fruit salad. And
Mm-hmm.
interesting enough, when my son took his senior trip abroad for his university,
Mm-hmm.
him and the other exchange students brought together food for Thanksgiving because none of them could go home.
Mm-hmm.
He said there were two girls from Laos that brought a fruit salad exactly like the one that we make. I'm like,
Oh, how about that?
exactly like the one we make in our family. So it just shows you, the world is a lot smaller than what we think. But that's that.
Absolutely.
And then dessert wise,
Mm-hmm.
grandma or my cousin Chi Chi would always make a pound cake. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like 7-Up cake, but it's a pound
Mm-hmm.
cake. Maybe there'd be peach cobbler,
Mm-hmm.
pecan pie, and then of course sweet potato pie, and then
Oh,
pumpkin
yeah.
pie. We'd always have.
Yeah.
We'd always have that, as well as
Mm-hmm.
um, water, lemonade, iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
what would
see.
you have?
Well, we usually had turkey and ham. Those two were always standard. Of course, we had dressing. We had sweet potatoes, candied sweet potatoes. We'd have macaroni and cheese. We'd have greens, green beans. We'd have, now we didn't do a green bean casserole. We had old fashioned green beans with all the ham and all the good stuff.
Oh,
And
and notice Stephanie said the green beans with potatoes. We would have that sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes, depending on who made the green beans, there might be potatoes in them. I like green beans with potatoes as well. And we usually, as we started to have newer family members to come in, they had additional traditions that came in. We ended up with we always had corn pudding,
Mm.
and one person would do this pineapple casserole, and then we had a squash casserole, and both of them were very different, but they were good, and they worked with the ham and with the turkey,
All
and
dishes too. Some pineapples.
but there had to be a German chocolate cake. There had to be some type of pound cake. Now, my son-in-law only thinks that there should be a seven up pound cake, but I'm a sour cream pound cake from way back. They're just beautiful when they come out of the oven, and we like sweet potato pie over pumpkin pie, but then we have pumpkin bread that we serve in the morning, and because we do breakfast as well, so we got to have whatever it is for breakfast. And so and that's something that when you're thinking about that budget, we're we focus so much on the dinner, but you got to do breakfast. You
Mhm.
got to have a breakfast. Now we usually do more of depending upon what time dinner is going to be. Sometimes it's more brunchy, or it's something that can stay in the crock pot. That as people are getting up and getting dressed and whatever, that they can just get and go. And so that's something else that as you're planning your menu, you also want to think about your breakfast or brunch that you're going to have for your guest. and you may want appetizers, or it may be that instead of your appetizers, may be something that can kind of carry over your family so that you won't have to do a heavy breakfast. You can just have appetizers early, and then they'll still have room enough for all the dinner. And so, does your family eat in waves, where you have the first wave to come through, and they almost wipe out everything, and then everybody sits there and they talk and they play, and then all of a sudden everybody goes back and they go back and get the second wave of food? That's what we have. So there always has to be enough food, and that's really important.
Mhm.
As you're planning, you really want to have enough food so that everyone feels welcome, and when
Yeah.
they leave, they're stuffed.
Well, and so okay, I'm going to check to see what people are saying that they plan to have, and then we'll talk about how much turkey they need to buy per person.
Mhm.
Uh, let's see. So Stephanie says her and her siblings talk about the menu first. And
Mhm.
then Linda says her thought about the Instant Pot is to cook parts the day before and then serve it the next day because the Instant Pot tends to cook food very tender.
That's
So
true.
that is very true.
Mhm.
Hey, Patience said she just finished her
Hey,
doctoral degree.
yeah.
Oh, yes, congratulations.
Wow. Wonderful.
So Nitty said she doesn't have a budget for Thanksgiving or Christmas. She doesn't want to have the added stress. She
Mhm.
wants to be able to accommodate all. So she just buys what she needs and then
Mhm.
sorts it out later. I
Mhm.
understand. I've
I
never.
I understand. I understand.
Oh, and then Steph says, don't forget to give us the thumbs up.
Thank you.
And then, of course, whoever makes the best dish should make that. And everybody knows, like everybody knows in my family, potato salad maker is my sister Lavina. Sweet
Mhm.
potatoes is Mickey Blue Skies.
Mhm.
Mac and cheese is me. Everybody's got their thing.
Yeah.
So Lola says it's so interesting how each family has traditional foods. Her husband is Polish, and so they have Polish sausage with every holiday.
Oh. Oh,
Okay.
that's a great idea.
I would like to know what other things you have besides Polish
Mhm.
sausage, Lola.
Mhm.
And so now Steph says they use paper plates and plastic forks. And I know I used to want to use my good china because whenever else am I going to use it? So I'd get out my good china, get out my good flatware and use that. And one year, my sister, one of my sisters, this is one was from Delaware. She said, "Look, if you get out that china, I'm not washing dishes." She said, "We are not washing dishes today. So if you get it out, you're gonna be washing it yourself." Well,
Sounds
I
like
did
your
not need
daughter.
plates at that point, so we still had to get out, dishes. But I at
Mhm.
least got out some dishes that we could put in the
In
dishwasher.
the dishwasher.
So then the
Mhm.
next year, I bought some really pretty paper plates.
Mhm.
It was so much simpler. I was like,
Mhm.
why didn't I think of this sooner? It was
I
just so
know.
much easier. So from now on, I'm like, look, if we got more than 6 people, we got to go with paper plates because it's just
Absolutely.
too much to
It
do.
is.
Yeah. Uh, so Jay Taylor says they use white plates, silverware, and glasses for the holiday. It's the time of the year that the dishwasher is most frequently used. And I've got a whole set of white plates that I can use.
Mhm.
We can use for the holiday. My
Mhm.
china is white, but I don't put it in the dishwasher. But my
Mhm.
niece, what they would do is they would buy some really nice kind of plasticware,
Mhm.
white plastic with little designs on it. They look almost like china, but they're
Mhm.
disposable. And
Mhm.
they use that to serve and then just pitch them after the holiday. And that's it's not cost effective unless you're concerned about the convenience and the time saved. And then it is. So there's something
Absolutely.
about their time is certainly not to say for that.
Well, while you're looking, Denise, what some of our traditions that we've used, like using the plates and those kind of things, they came during the time where many, many moms were at home. and didn't have outside jobs or weren't at home necessarily homeschooling the kids. And so because of that, they might have had a little more time to wash the dishes.
Mhm.
And but in today's world, everyone is running, ripping and running. So there's just not time for all of that.
So now Kim says turkeys are 79 cents a pound in her area. Kim, where are you? Let
Yeah.
us know so that the people on that are in your area can check that out. So
Hmm.
79 cents a pound in your area. They're not on sale other than
Not
99 cents a
accurate.
pound here. And you said Aldi's had them for $1.09. Somebody else said
Hmm.
Walmart had them 98 cents a pound.
98.
And they'll
Hmm.
probably be the same in all the areas.
Hmm.
So Stephanie says they'll do turkey for Thanksgiving and then gumbo for Christmas. Stephanie didn't tell us where she's from yet, but if she's doing gumbo, I'm wondering is she from Louisiana?
Louisiana.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then Sally says some chickens are as big as small turkeys, and so that's certainly something you can do. Get a large chicken or
Hmm.
two and serve that.
Hmm.
So Kroger in Atlanta, turkey's 99 cents a pound.
Okay.
And
Was your turkey 99 cents?
Atlanta,
No, was yours the one you bought the other day?
yes, 99 cents a pound yesterday at
Okay.
Kroger.
Mhm.
And then Tina says her menu expands more and more, and then she gets overwhelmed. So, Tina, that's something I was going to mention earlier when we were talking about ways to cut down on the cost, and that
Mhm.
is to cut down on the number of items that you have. Don't let
Mhm.
that menu expand too much. So, if you have turkey, dressing, and I'm going to ask people in the chat if you say dressing or stuffing. We say dressing because
Mhm.
dressing is on the side and stuffing actually goes inside the bird.
And the
But
bird.
what do other people say? So let us know what you say about that. But if you have turkey and dressing, mashed
Mhm.
potatoes and gravy, maybe some green beans, another side dish, maybe a side salad or some other kind of greens like collard greens or kale or something like that,
Mhm.
green bean casserole, whatever.
Mhm.
And then you've got maybe a couple desserts, apple pie, sweet potato, pumpkin, some kind of cake or pie. Let it be done with that.
Mhm.
And appetizers, like you could have not a fruit tray, but a relish tray.
Oh, a
Like
relish. Mhm. Or charcuterie board.
charcuterie board. That's the thing right now. But you could also do like peppers and carrots and those kind of
Mhm.
things. So have a lot of a few things that people can fill up on, and that will
Mhm.
be quite so overwhelming. What do you think about that, Leona? Got any other tips for her?
Well, I'm thinking too, I guess, Tina, I have to ask you, are you expanding the menu or are your guests expanding the menu? And if they're expanding the menu, then you have to say, okay, then you're going to have to bring that. I would love for you to bring that. Oh, we'd love to have that. Will you bring that? And it needs to feed 15 people. And that's something too that we have to, as we're asking
Wait,
our
I'm going to
guests.
stop you just for a second.
Mhm.
I want you to back up because sometimes we need to have the words. So I want you to run that conversation again so everyone hears, particularly our young homemakers like Tina and others, so they hear what they need to say. So do that again. This is
You
therapy
know,
session now, folks. Do that again.
sometimes our family members, as much as we love them and our friends, they're saying, oh, well, I want you to have this for Thanksgiving. And so we have to very nicely say, oh, that would be delicious. Would you mind bringing that? Because you know you are trying to handle your portion of the menu, and so if they want to add to the menu or be a part of that menu and share in what's going on, that's one thing. But if they're not willing to bring whatever that is, then that might be one of those things and say, maybe we can try that for Christmas and put that off to another time. And don't be afraid. You do it nicely, do it light, do it funny, lovingly, but don't let other people overwhelm you, because I can tell you,
Boom.
your family, we love them, we love our friends, but and they have good hearts, but they are all about looking at you and saying, "Oh, well, I think you ought to do so and so." And so we just have to be able to say, I only have time to get this done, but I would welcome your help to do this, and let them come into what's going on. And in our house, we even invite part of the family in and say, okay, we're going to be finishing up cooking at say 1 o'clock because dinner's at 5. And so come on in at 1 o'clock and bring your apron because we're going to put them to work. They're going to set tables. They're going to do all those kind of things. So it becomes a full community working together. And you'll be surprised. Once they're used to that, then it becomes fun and everybody's in the mix. It just makes the day a lot more exciting.
It does. And I really like how you shared lovingly to have what they can say to
Mhm.
get that assistance. Because I know sometimes for me, it has been very helpful to hear the word so that I could know what to say in certain situations. It's like,
Mhm.
gosh, why didn't I think of that? And I think of it an hour or two later. So it is helpful to have someone give you the words now. So,
Mhm.
ladies, Miss Leona has given you the words of what you can say when people want to expand your menu. So, Tina, keep that menu small. Keep it
Mhm.
to what's traditional for your family. And then don't hesitate to ask them to participate by bringing some things. And that is one way to keep our Thanksgiving affordable is
Mhm.
by letting everyone participate in bringing something. And people are really happy to be able to do that because
Mhm.
everyone has something they're proud of. And if you
Absolutely.
don't, then it's time for you to get something to start practicing on so that you can be known for something. You
Mhm.
might be known for the pecan pie. You might be known for the green bean casserole. You could be known for the corn pudding or whatever it
Mhm.
is, the Polish sausage,
Mhm.
whatever it is. Just kind of make something your own and then do that.
Denise, has your family ever, well, you might have done this, maybe not necessarily for Thanksgiving, but we had little recipe cards that whomever brought whatever the dish was, they would say, corn pudding by Michelle.
Mm.
And then on the back would be the recipe so that if anyone wanted the recipe, they could write it down. I usually had extra paper. They could jot down all the recipes. Especially the young cooks were good at going through and getting all the recipes, while they were going through. But it keeps it interactive, and you make it a point to ooh and ah over everyone's dish
I
and
like
how
that.
special it is. And so for those who may be a little shaky about presenting a dish and bringing a dish, especially if they're young, then they have their time when they shine. And it really does make it very nice.
Yeah, I like that idea. We've not done that, but it certainly makes a lot of sense to do that. Um, so Vicky says, gotta have them collards. Yes. And then Sarah says they usually have duck, mashed potatoes,
Mm.
beans, giblets, and gravy. So
Oh,
yeah,
yummy.
you gotta have that gravy.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I am too. I
Woo.
made duck one year. I think the first Thanksgiving my husband and I were married, I made
Mhm,
duck. We weren't home. We were in Indianapolis
mhm,
by ourselves. And so I bought a duck at I don't know what store we bought it at that time.
mhm.
And it was an experience. We ate it. It was good, but I've not made one since. But oh, Stephanie says she's in Texas. You were right.
Okay,
Texas.
okay. I thought it was Texas.
And then Sherry says turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, gravy, sweet potatoes, green bean
Mhm.
casserole, or broccoli casserole, whole
Mhm.
cranberry sauce. Love whole cranberry sauce.
Mm, mm, mm,
Pecan
mm.
pie, pumpkin pie, whipped cream. So we got a lot of
Oh, yeah.
similarities there. So Sarah says duck with mashed potatoes and giblet gravy. And then she thinks she might make turkey this year.
Okay.
And Ronnie said she might order up a pre-made meal. Oh,
Just kidding.
yeah, turkey, ham, mashed. Everybody tends. It looks like most people have the turkey and the ham and the
Mhm.
mashed potatoes, but either the green bean casserole or green beans and potatoes, but some form of green beans. So as you see,
Mhm.
though, everything is in season. Everything is in
Absolutely,
season.
absolutely. And if you're close to South Carolina, the sweet potatoes are huge and they're delicious.
And so Ronnie's putting cornbread stuffing on her menu.
Mhm.
Cora has sounds like the same thing that
Ooh, yummy.
on hers, like you have, but everything
Mhm.
else is pretty similar. So okay,
Got that German chocolate cake.
yes. So and then Stephanie says they eat in waves as well. Ooh,
Mhm.
chicken gravy with diced eggs in it. I'm gonna have to look up that recipe. I can make some good giblet gravy, but diced eggs.
Diced eggs. I saw somebody do that. I've never done that.
My grandmother used to make a rum cake.
Yes, I've done that. I've done the
7-Up
rind
cake,
cake
pumpkin pie, and then
or
smack
a
it in
jam
grits,
cake.
crackers, and fruits. Yes, yeah. So it sounds like a lot of people are having similar things.
Mhm.
And then Lola says, those of us with extended families, large ones are blessed. I think Lola's family is small. I think there's just a few of them, like maybe 6 of them that get together for dinner.
Okay.
But you
Mhm.
know what, though, Lola, you enjoy what you have because your family
Mhm.
is your family. And if
Mhm.
all of a sudden you were descended on by 20 people, you probably wouldn't know what to do. You'd be like, what? You know, but yeah, and mac and cheese. Oh, and then Sherry says she cannot resist the pretty Thanksgiving paper plates and
Mhm.
napkins she sees in the store. I'm doing that now. I've learned to do that.
Absolutely. Me too. I already have mine. Already done.
And then Sally says her mom couldn't roast a turkey. Her dad did that. And then after he
Oh.
passed away, they got a turkey breast. So yeah. So now let me share a story about dressing. So I was asking people if they call it dressing or if they call it stuffing. What do you call it, Leona? You didn't jump
I
in.
call it dressing.
Yeah, I call it dressing too. And so
Mhm.
we got dressing, dressing and collard greens,
Dressing and collard green.
dressing
Mhm.
and cornbread.
Mhm.
Kansas City is dressing. So a lot of people say dressing. To
Mhm.
be exact, cornbread. Hey, Frugalista, look who's here.
Oh my goodness, I haven't seen her in a while.
We've got a lot of dressings on here. So now let me share with
Mhm.
you guys the story. So my daughter-in-law who lives in Atlanta, she teaches school, and she said they were planning a Thanksgiving carry-in, and they were like divvying up things to bring, and it was going to be like a very traditional dinner that they were carrying in.
Mhm.
And one of the ladies said she would bring the dressing because dressing was on the list. And this lady was an international teacher, so she was not
Mhm.
I want to say American in that aspect. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
be rude or snobbish, but
Mhm.
just trying to explain that she wasn't of the mainstream culture that we tend to think of.
Mhm.
So she said that the day of the carry-in, they were looking at all the food and they were looking for the dressing and they couldn't find any. But then all of a sudden they realized on the table was 7 bottles of salad dressing, like French dressing, ranch dressing, zesty Italian.
Aw.
The lady didn't know that dressing meant like stuffing or dressing.
Mhm.
And they said they were surprised when she said that she would bring the dressing. So they were like, okay, well, and salad dressing. So
Aw.
that's just a kind of a cute, funny story. But
That
it also
is.
goes to let us know though that what is meant in one instance is not necessarily the same or understood in other cultures. So
That's true.
um,
That's true. We have to take all that into consideration.
yes. So Thelma says they have appetizers like shrimp, sausage dip and chips, angel eggs, and chicken salad. Ooh, I like
Now,
that.
what are angel eggs?
Deviled
Is it
eggs.
like deviled eggs?
And they just don't call them deviled eggs. They just another.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
some people don't like to use that.
Okay. Okay.
And so Lola says Polish sausage, turkey stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes, Everything's the same except for the
Mhm.
Polish sausage.
Except for the
Yeah, we pretty
sausage.
much all
Mhm.
stuff the same. And then Lola says she has them bring their dishes in disposable containers. Otherwise,
Mhm.
they can clean. Oh my God.
Great
Why did I think of
idea.
that?
Ah,
That's such a good idea. It's like bring them in disposable containers. Otherwise, you got to clean them up yourself. Yes.
absolutely. That's the good thing. And now is the time to purchase your aluminum foil trays that you bake your macaroni and cheese and sweet potatoes in.
Mhm.
Now's the time to get them so that
Yeah.
you can have them in advance, ready to go. And definitely, when we finish whatever it is, as a pan's used, it goes straight into the trash. That's just one less thing to have to clean up.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. Now, Nitty says, don't forget to share those recipes so the traditions live on. And you know what? That is so true. One of
Mhm.
my nieces is asking my cousin, what's the recipe for her 7 Up cake? Because
Mhm.
nobody else can make it. All our grandparents, everyone that makes that cake is gone except for my one
Mhm.
cousin. And now for our fruit salad, we give that recipe to the new brides when they come into these
Oh,
families so they can make it for their family. But we don't typically share that recipe outside of the family. Um,
well, Denise, you all are going to have to put together a kitchen notebook.
I saw
These are
your
your
video on the kitchen
family
notebook.
legacy.
Oh, it was so cute.
Yes.
I thought about
Create
that
that
for my
book,
granddaughters.
get that book going.
You guys
And
look at this.
yes, and I think it was Pam. I think it was Pam because she knew that on the last tag in here that I didn't have anything on it. And her suggestion was for the last tag was to make this the holiday tag, where all the holiday recipes would go in that last section, where
Mhm.
these are the everyday types of things and desserts and those kind of things. But those specialty items for holiday go here. But your kitchen legacy in your handwriting that you can pass on to the rest of the family.
And you know what? You're so right. I've got a couple of cookbooks that were my grandmother's, and I think
Mhm.
they came from her mother. They're like 18 something cookbooks. And
Wow.
there's a couple like little pieces of paper, like, this size or a little
Mhm.
bigger, newspaper clippings tucked in the book where they
Mhm.
had written something in there. And it is just so nice to be able to look in there and see there.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think I like that idea. I might have to do that. So
Yeah,
Terry wants to know about homemade cranberry sauce. I think I've done a video where I made homemade cranberry sauce. It's pretty
I
easy
think
to
I
make,
did. It is easy.
make it again because I did pick up some fresh
Mhm.
cranberries the other day.
Mhm.
I'm trying to come up with ideas to make things for shorts, and that'd probably be a good one to use
Mhm.
for a short.
It would be. It would be. I'm doing a cranberry jam tomorrow
All
here at the house.
okay.
And so that's going to be a part of the Thanksgiving day with some
Okay.
good biscuits.
Let's see. Uh, let me. Oh, wait. Somebody's talking about their kitchen notebooks. So Ronnie likes that idea. She started one for her
Oh,
oldest son.
good. Wonderful. He'll enjoy it. I know my grandson did.
Idea for new
Mhm.
brides.
Mhm.
So Ronnie says she stopped making cranberry sauce because nobody eats it. I
What?
like whole berry cranberry sauce, but I'm the only one that prefers the whole berry. A lot of the other people
Mhm.
like the jellied,
Mhm.
but hey, I buy cranberry sauce all year long. Just
Me
like we
too.
have corn and peas, we have cranberry sauce. Now my
Mhm.
husband doesn't eat it, but I do. So
I do. I can eat the
yeah.
whole can by myself.
Okay, so Kim says her mom has passed on and she's
Mhm.
happy that she's got those dishes in her own handwriting. So okay, Kim,
It is.
you're making me realize I gotta do it. So okay, I'll get that started.
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
let me see if I'm on track with our stuff. So I'm going away. Are you hosting? Are you going away? And you guys can
I'm
let
go-
us know too if you're
we're
going
going to
to
be in
your home.
Disney World. We're going to Disney World for Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, look at this. One of the cousins created
Oh,
binders for each branch, and it goes back several
wow.
generations, and it has pictures. Oh, how nice.
Oh,
Ellie, that's amazing.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I hear you, Sherry. Okay. So I was going
Thank
to
you,
ask
Sherry.
cornbread dressing or white bread dressing, but I think it's cornbread because a lot of people have already
Cornbread.
said that.
Yeah, it's been a bunch of cornbread dressings.
Leona, did you want to show your timeline or do you want to do that next week?
Well, we I can talk about it this week. I don't know if many of you have those of you who are my subscribers on my community page. I have posted for you my new website. So if you go to the website, you're going to see that there is a place for you to be able to look. It's going to talk about the kitchen. I'm going to give you some suggestions of some dishes that you can certainly think about. It offers some tips and recipes that you might even want to do ahead. And particularly, I started purposely with the skillet cornbread because I do about 2 to 3 batches of the skillet cornbread. And then I also make a batch of little cornbread muffins to actually serve.
Now,
But
do you see that I've got it pulled up for you?
mhm,
Okay.
mhm. And the skillet cornbread is so nice because then it has time to dry out. It's ready for that traditional holiday dressing that you have. But I threw a little something extra in there besides the traditional holiday dressing. As Denise scrolls down, you're going to see I added a vegetable lentil soup because I'm trying to cut back a little bit. And so I thought, let's get a little plant-based some plant-based dishes in there. So this particular vegetable lentil soup is one that doesn't have it doesn't need any salt, no oil, no sugar, and it is delicious to have, and you'll be surprised how people will actually eat it. And it's a great brunch to be able to have where someone can get a cup of soup that will hold them over until dinner. But as you go on by, here is the one, this cranberry apple stuffing. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful when it's put together. And now it starts with French bread. And you get your French bread in advance. You have a chance for it to, you cube it up. You can either toast the bread, but once it gets into the stuffing, it comes together very quickly. I included macaroni and cheese, this is my go-to recipe if I'm fixing it on the weeknight or if I'm doing it for a group. Then I can just multiply what I need. But the traditional macaroni and cheese. So down below that, you'll see that you're looking at the Thanksgiving timeline. And so about several weeks, I'll say weeks, and I think I went back and changed that week. I said the week before Thanksgiving, but really it's weeks before before the actual Thanksgiving week, where it gives you suggestions of things to do and takes you all the way up to the week of Thanksgiving. And each day as you go, some of the things that you'll want to add. And of course, you're welcome to add to it, add in suggestions, but all of this is on the website. So you'll have a chance to go and you can just keep going back to look at it. And I will be adding more as time goes by. So I'm hoping that all of you will take a look and certainly subscribe so that you will get it. Get the notifications as soon as I upload. But I'm going to be putting those dishes out there so you can see. And some of those dishes I'm even going to prepare and they will be on the channel. So you'll have that to see as well. Plus, I've got a Thanksgiving playlist that in fact, both of us do. We've got Thanksgiving playlists for years of things that we've been doing along the way that of various ways of preparing the turkey, options instead of turkey doing chicken. And so it gives you a chance to, depending upon where you are as far as the home cook is concerned and what your skills are, you can decide what your particular option might be. And it might be great. Get your husband in the
Yeah.
kitchen. Get the kids in the kitchen, and let the kids prepare. Like my daughter was doing the cookies the cookie dough for Thanksgiving, they were working on that last week. So they were preparing the cookie dough, get it all rolled up and into the freezer, so that all she has to do a day or so before Thanksgiving is to slice it and the cookies are ready to go. And she typically has 3 or 4 different varieties of cookies. So those are the types of things that you can start now, rather
Mhm.
than, it's better to start early rather than later in
Right.
preparing for that day, because it is a very busy one.
One other thing to think about too is when we think about saving money on dinner, you can also save money by making some things from scratch. So
Absolutely.
you can make your own mashed potatoes from scratch,
Hmm.
probably a little bit cheaper than those box mashed potatoes.
Hmm.
However, if time is of the essence, you can do a very good job with a box of instant mashed potatoes. Just use
Hmm.
them up with the things that you need to put in them to make them taste the way that you want them to taste. And
Hmm.
as Leona mentioned, you can make some of these dishes ahead and put
Hmm.
them in the freezer so that they're ready. So that helps you reduce a little bit of stress, but also you can save money on your budget that way. So
I know
there's
last Thanksgiving I did my dressing a couple of weeks ahead, and I did it on Saturday in the kitchen, and prepared all the dressing, put it in its little containers, put it into the freezer bags, and off to the freezer it went.
Mhm.
And so then when it was time for the holiday, all I had to do the day before was put it into the refrigerator so it could thaw, and that morning take it out once the turkey came out, and it went into the oven ready to cook. The macaroni and cheese was already done and in the freezer. The sweet potatoes were
Mhm.
already done and in the freezer. So those are the kind of things that when you know you're going to maybe be the main cook, and
Right.
sometimes that's the case, you'll want to do as much in advance as you possibly can.
Right. And one other thing I want to be sure to point out too is to make sure that people don't forget to compare, to shop early, as you said, but compare prices. And
Hmm.
then think about those make ahead dishes and get them in the freezer, as Miss Leona said. And then when you're looking at your turkey, there's always a question as to how much turkey do you buy per person? And the typical standard response is about 1.5 pounds of turkey per person. So if you're going to have 10 people, you want to have about a 18 to 20 pound turkey.
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm not eating a pound and a half of turkey. I may have 3 or 4 ounces of turkey, but I'm
Hmm.
going to rest. It's going to be, I might have a little slice of ham, and then I'm
Hmm.
going to have all the other side dishes. I'm going to fill up on all of those things. So
Hmm.
think about that as well. Now, get as large a turkey as you can.
Hmm.
Typically, between 16 and 20 pounds are the best sizes. They
Hmm.
tend to cook up better and taste better.
Hmm.
So if you need to get more than that, you might want to get two
Two.
smaller turkeys and instead of one.
Somebody said that in the chat, that they usually buy 2 turkeys.
Yeah, and then for those of you that are just joining us or that joined us late, I'm your host, Denise Jordan from This and That with Denise Jordan. And with me is Leona Dooley from Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme in the Kitchen as co hosts. We always get together and co host Thanksgiving to
Hmm.
make some killer rolls.
Yes.
And the show was brought to you by Apron Diva, my online apron boutique. And pretty and practical. We believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. So here we are here with the different aprons that we have. We've got them for Thanksgiving and
Mhm.
fall, as well as Halloween and then Christmas and Hanukkah and other seasons. So check us out at www.aprondiva.com. And then let me just give a quick recap of the 10 tips that I have, and then you can hit on any of the ones I might have that we need to emphasize.
Mhm.
So let me back up for a second before we do that. So Linda says she thinks that considers the weight of the turkey with bones, but yeah, 20 pounds is too much for 10 to 12 people. And you're right, that does include the weight of the turkey with
Mhm.
bones. But I'm thinking that is still too much turkey for just 10 or 12 people.
Mhm.
Now, if all you're having is turkey and you're not having ham or another side dish, I mean, another like protein,
Mhm.
then you might be on target with that. But most people have
Mhm.
turkey and ham or turkey and some kind of a roast or something like that.
One thing that we do need to jump in and say that as you finish up with that turkey, do not throw the bones away. Keep that carcass because it is gold
Mhm.
in making turkey broth and our turkey stock.
Turkey
So,
carcass soup.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. So,
there's
hold
nothing
on
as
to
good
that.
as turkey carcass soup. So, okay, let me get over here and give the wrap up real quick of the 10 tips that we had. And tip number one was to shop store brands. So you can save money by shopping the store brands. One time I did a grocery haul and I was showing some of my spices, and somebody made a comment, "Oh, Denise buys the expensive spices because I always buy McCormick. I like the jars they come in, and I like all the
Mhm.
jars to look alike in the cabinet. But honey, the last couple of times I bought spices, I bought the Kroger store brand. So trust me, I am shopping store brands. And so when it comes to your turkey, you could get the Kroger or the Walmart
Mhm.
brand rather than Butterball if you so desire. However, it is said that, fresh turkey is better than frozen, but frozen
Mhm.
is probably going to be a little bit cheaper.
Mhm.
Also, simple recipes are best. So when you're trying to save money, keep those recipes as simple as possible. Some people like to make a really nice corn pudding or that green bean casserole, but you could just have green beans that are seasoned with salt and pepper and a little bit of chicken broth. You could just
Absolutely.
have whole kernel or sweet white corn with just a little bit of
Mhm.
salt and butter. So you
Mhm.
can keep those simple and keep your menu limited to try to save a little money that way.
Mhm.
And as we already said, cook from scratch. However,
Absolutely.
cooking from scratch is best. It's going to be the most flavorful, but you may not have the time. And if you don't have
Mhm.
time, then of course you do what you need to do. And if you need to order dinner from Kroger or whatever, do what you need to do. Borrow what
Absolutely.
you can. So if you need one of them big roasters, see who you can borrow one from rather than having to buy one yourself.
Mhm.
And then have a plan for the leftovers. Maybe the next
Mhm.
day or the next couple of days, you'll have leftovers for dinner. Maybe you'll have turkey noodle soup. Maybe you'll make a shepherd's pie with some of the leftover mashed potatoes. But come up with a way to use those leftovers. I like to make the Thanksgiving sandwich.
I do too. I do too.
The video they would show on the Food Network, I think,
Mhm.
like it was a restaurant that had the Thanksgiving sandwich.
Mhm.
I like to see them make it, and I like the Thanksgiving sandwich. It's got like this turkey, a little
Mhm.
dressing, a little
Mhm.
mashed potatoes, and
Absolutely.
everything is on it.
Even the cranberry dressing.
Yeah.
Cranberry sauce is on there. Little dressing.
Now when I found this tip, I had to think about it. And it's utilize your local food pantry if you need it.
Mhm.
There is a food pantry not far from me. And if I drive in that direction on a Saturday morning, or
Mhm.
my husband's going fishing on a Saturday morning and they're going out past that way, there will be people lined up around the block and down the street to get into that pantry to get
Mhm.
food. So if you need this resource, please don't hesitate to take it. I remember
Absolutely.
one year I was taking one of my sisters, to get a free turkey. She didn't drive and she had some
Mhm.
mobility issues, so I had to take her. I had to stand in line with her.
Mhm.
And this place where we went is a place where I would frequently take my students, and we would do some educational sessions there. And I
Mhm.
knew the people that ran the place, and I'm like, I don't want to be standing in a food line for turkeys. I mean, I don't want people thinking that I need to do this.
Mhm.
Thought, Denise, get a grip. People could care
Mhm.
less who you think you are. These people in this line are there because they need what they need, and you are
Absolutely.
there to help someone else get what they need. So just get
Mhm.
over yourself.
Mhm.
So if you need these resources, please don't let pride
Mhm.
stop you from taking advantage of them. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
as Miss Leon said, shop early.
Mhm.
And then buy what's in season and on sale. And if you start shopping early enough, you can tell if the stuff on sale is really on sale or if it's marked up
Mhm.
and they just mark it as on sale because you
Mhm.
would have been looking around to know that.
Mhm.
And as you showed earlier with your booklet, make a list. Do
Make
not
a list.
you're hungry and make a list.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one I think is the most important one is to share the cost.
Absolutely.
Let your family members or whoever's coming help you. When someone say, was there anything I can bring? Say, yes, could you bring this? Or,
Mm-hmm.
as Miss Leona taught us, when they say, oh, I really wish you would make those, those Brussels sprouts with like chopped bacon. You know what? That's a great idea. Can you bring that? So,
Mm-hmm.
just ask, yeah. So those are the summary of our tips that we gave. Did I miss any? Is anything you feel like we need to get in there?
No, I think you've covered just about everything in making sure that everyone has an idea as to what we need to do. Hey, tech troublemaker, how about that?
When I cannot believe Tech jumped in on us. What you doing? He says he does store brands when he can, but sometimes they don't taste as great or the quality is off.
That's
That's
true.
true sometimes, but you know
Mhm.
what I've been finding? Sometimes the store brands are pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. You just have to find out which ones are the better ones
Hmm.
and work. And also be careful with store brands with salt. So as you're using your canned goods, it's always smart to just give a little taste to see how salty it is, because that's going to determine how much salt you need in your recipe.
Hmm. Ronnie's laughing at me about my little story. Oh, yes. Try says buy an
Hmm.
extra can or extra pack of something that you want to have for Christmas. So right now, while they have those, like I
Hmm.
like to buy the Pepperidge Farm cornbread stuffing as a part of my
Hmm.
stuffing mix. Right
Hmm.
now, while they're on sale, I'll pick up 3 or 4 of those, put them in
Hmm.
the freezer. Then I've
In the
already got
freezer.
that part for Christmas. And then when I have to make my own pan of cornbread and add all these
Mhm.
different things together, I'm good to go.
Yep. Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So I think we have covered everything, Leona. Is there anything else that we're missing
I
or?
tell you, this has been a fun evening.
Oh, it was so
And I
much
think we're all on the same page
fun.
of
Mhm,
we know we are homemakers who know what we need to do.
mhm.
And those who aren't quite sure about what they're doing, they're right in here with us, ready to go. And, we want to encourage those who, we always have seasoned home cooks, but it's
Mhm.
wonderful, wonderful to have our young home cooks here as well, because really it's all about encouraging our new cooks.
Yeah,
So, because eventually we will step away from these positions and it's going to be all about you. So it's our responsibility, or at least I feel like it's my responsibility to share whatever I know with you, so that when your opportunity comes to step up to the plate, you are ready to go.
absolutely, absolutely. And I have to say, if you guys have not watched Leona cook, she is an excellent, excellent teacher. She is so patient and just explains everything so carefully. And it's just everyone can easily understand it. So if you're a young cook and you're meeting her for the first time, you've got to check out her channel. Oh, and here's the other thing, too. We are trying to get her to that 2,000 subscriber mark. So if you're not a member of her family and you like home cooking, you want to learn how to cook better, you want to learn how to make dinner rolls, then you would be interested in the things that she shares on her channel. Now, if we're not the right vibe, then of course, you would not necessarily want to join because we don't want people to just join and they don't come back to
Right,
visit. But if
right.
you think you can vibe with the kind of stuff that we've been sharing, you will certainly vibe with Miss Leona. So be sure and check her out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
We are blessed as friends, to be able to, I think it's good too for our young cooks to see that there are people out here. You can tell by the people who are in our chat, as well as the two of us, that we're all on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And our mission is to be able to prepare those who are yet to come.
Yes.
And so, as our mothers and fathers prepared us, and passed on traditions to us. We need to be able to do that for you.
Definitely. Ronnie, it was so good to see you today.
Good to see you.
Very good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Alethea. You will not be disappointed.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Terry said she likes to ask guests because she doesn't know well what
Mhm.
needs to be included in the meal that without it won't feel like Thanksgiving.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's going to differ from family to family too. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, Leona, thank you so much for joining with me. We will be back again next week, and
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about
The house,
the
the
house,
kitchen,
getting ready for the house.
getting the kitchen and the house ready,
Right. And
and not food related.
yeah, it won't be food related. I probably should have
Mhm.
talk about like getting my 21 days to get your house ready for the holidays. So I'll bring that out
Absolutely.
next week too. Well, okay. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Leona, you stay right there.
Mhm.
But thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next week. So bye.
Bye-bye.